In this mini lecture, we're going to work through the calculations associated with reinvestment and price risk. We start with bond features. Bond B has a time to maturity of 4 years. The coupon rate translates to the dollar coupon of $50. And we have a face value of $1,000. Okay, with this information, we can calculate the bond's price at each coupon date. So today's price will have n is equal to 4, and then 1 year later n is equal to 3, then n is equal to 2, n is equal to 1, and then finally n is equal to 0. And recall that n is the number of remaining coupons, or the times to maturity. Okay, with that information, we have the prices, and we note that the price remains at par value of $1,000 for the bond's life. Okay, that's because the yield to maturity is 5%, and that's the same as the coupon rate. So whenever the coupon rate and the yield to maturity are the same, the bond sells at par or face value. Okay, now let's look at the wealth accumulation that you would get if you held this bond over its lifetime. And we'll do this with essentially a bank ledger. Okay, so we start off, you buy the bond today and it's worth $1,000. Nothing happens on that day, so you don't get any coupon, so the wealth you have from the bond is equal to $1,000. 1 year later, the bond price, if you were to sell the bond, it would still be worth $1,000. We got that from slide 2. We receive our first coupon, so if you held the bond until year 1 and then sold it, you would get $1,000 from selling the bond, $50 coupon, and so you would have had a total accumulation of wealth of $1,050. Okay, so 1 year goes by, so now we're at year 2. Again, from slide 2, we have the price of the bond is still at $1,000. You have invested this coupon that you got in year 1 at 5%. Okay, that was the market interest rate. And so it's grown in value to $52.50. So that's just simply $50 plus 5%. Then you receive the second coupon of $50. So if you sold the bond in year 2, you'd have $1,000 from the sale of the bond, coupon from the first coupon plus interest, and then the second coupon. So you would get a total of $1,102.50. So let's see what happens if we continue this process in year 3. We could sell the bond still for $1,000. This original coupon has earned 2 years of interest at 5%, so its accumulated value is now $55.13. The second coupon has earned 1 year of interest at 5%, so its value is now $52.50, and then you receive the third coupon. If you sold the bond in year 3, you would have accumulated a wealth of $1,157.63. And then finally, when the bond matures, you get $1,000 from the company paying you the face value. The original coupon has grown in value from $50. It has earned 3 years of interest, and so its value is $57.88. The second coupon is now accumulated principal and interest of $55.13, $52.50 for the third coupon, and then finally you receive the last coupon. So you have a total accumulated wealth, if you held the bond to maturity, of $1,215.51. Okay, so let's summarize that. Total amount of money you would have after holding the bond for 4 years when the coupons are reinvested at the yield to maturity of 5%, would be our $1,215.51. Now let's take a look at what rate of return we earn per period. Okay, so we have our bond. We initially purchased it for $1,000. 4 years later, we had $1,215.51. And so what's our rate of return per period over this 4 years? Well, we have n is equal to 4. What we're looking for is the per period interest rate, or I over y. Our present value for our calculator, we put in a minus 1,000 because that's what we purchased the bond for. Our payment is 0 because we've already taken that into account, and we're just saying what if we just got this accumulated value at the end. And so our future value is that. When we solve for I over y, we get 5%. So in this case, what we're saying is if you buy a bond for $1,000 and the yield to maturity is 5%, and you hold the bond over its entire lifetime until maturity, and the yield to maturity stays at 5%, not surprisingly, your overall return per period would be 5%. Now let's look at what happens if the interest rate changes once you purchase the bond. So let's assume that immediately after you buy the bond, the interest rate increases to 6%. And we want to find out what effect that has on your return and its components. Okay, so let's see what happens. We know that when interest rates change, bond prices change. So we need to recalculate what the bond price will be at each point in time or each year. So again, we have our dollar coupons are still 50, and we still have 4 years to maturity. We have a face value of 1,000. Okay, so notice that the cash flows on this bond haven't changed any. Only the market interest rate has changed, and it's changed from 5% here to 6%. Okay, so all our calculations in our calculator are the same except for I over y is now 6. When we do that, we get the original price of the bond would have fallen from 1,000 to $965.35, and the price of the bond would change as shown, corresponding to each n equals 4, 3, 2, 1, and then finally 0. Notice that the bond would sell or has a price of 1,000 at maturity, okay, which is the bond's face value. So at maturity, bonds sell for par. Okay, so here's our new set of bond prices. Now let's go look at what would happen using our bank ledger to see what our accumulated wealth would be. We originally take a loss of $34.65. Okay, so when we purchased the bond, you bought it for $1,000. The interest rate moved from 5 to 6%, and the bond price decreased to $965. So we take an immediate loss of $35.65 today. Okay, so let's see what happens. Now, the difference is when we get our coupons, we're going to be able to invest them at 6% instead of the previous 5%. Okay, so let's look at our accumulated value. The bond price is now in period 0, or today, is $965.35. We don't get any coupons, and so that's what our wealth would be from the bond as of today. 1 year later, we've calculated the price of the bond is this figure. We got that from slide 11. We receive our first coupon, and so if we were to sell the bond in year 1, this would be our total proceeds. Continuing in that fashion, in year 2, the bond's price is $981.67. Again, that's from our previous calculations on slide 11. This coupon has now been invested at 6% because that's the new market interest rate. So it's earned $3 worth of interest. And then we receive our second coupon. If we sold the bond in year 2, this would be our total proceeds. Okay? Then let's continue in that fashion. What's the price of the bond in year 3? It's $990.57. We calculated that from slide 11. We've earned this original coupon. The first coupon has earned 6% for 2 years to accumulate this amount. Coupon 2 has earned 6% for 1 period, and then we receive the final coupon, or the coupon in period 3. So this would be our accumulated total value if we were to sell the bond in year 3. And then finally, if we hold the bond to maturity, the company would give us the face value. This first coupon has accumulated interest of this amount from year 1, 2, 3, and then finally in the 4th year. The second coupon has earned this much interest. This is for the third coupon, and then finally you would receive the 4th coupon. So this would be the total accumulated amount if we held the bond to year 4. So the total amount of money you would have after holding the bond for 4 years when the coupons are reinvested at 6% is the $1,218.73. All right, so we want to compare the numbers from this table to when the interest rate stayed at 5%. This table compares the wealth accumulation when the interest rate moved from 5% to 6%. In the top third of the panel, we have the wealth accumulation when the interest rate is 6%. The middle panel shows the wealth accumulation when the interest rate is 5%. And then finally, the bottom panel shows the price effect and the reinvestment effect separately, and also their net effect. Okay, so let's look at what happens today when the interest rate moves from 5% to 6% and you have possession of this bond. Okay, so today, when you first buy the bond, there are no coupons paid on the day you purchase it. So the income you earn is $0, and that's true regardless of whether the interest rate in the market is 5 or 6%. So when we compare the two coupons that we would get the income from the two, we see that there's no difference as of today. Now let's look at the price effect. When the interest rate was 6%, we have a bond price of $965.35. If the interest rates had remained at 5%, the bond would have had a value of $1,000, and so we've lost $34.65 as a result of the interest rates rising. Okay? We have no reinvestment effect because we haven't gotten any coupons yet, and so the net effect as of time period 1 is $34.65. Okay, so now let's look what happens 1 year later. If you hold the bond for 1 year and the interest rate is 6%, you would have gotten this $50. Now you're going to get that no matter what the interest rate is. As we see here, even when the interest rate is 5%, you still get that first coupon. Okay? And so again, the difference in the coupon income is 0 as of year 1. The price effect, we look at the price at the new interest rate of 6%. So if you hold the bond in year 1, that's what you could sell it for when the interest rate is 6%. If the interest rates had stayed constant, you could have sold the bond for $1,000. So if you sell the bond in year 1, you would have lost $26.73 as a result of the interest rates rising. Now, I want you to note that this is not a cumulative effect between today and year one. This is saying if you sold the bond in year 0, so today, you would have lost $34.65 as a result of the interest rates rising. If you hold the bond for one more year and then sell it, you still lose money as a result of the interest rates rising, but you lose less. Okay, so let's see what happens as of year 2. In year 2, we have accumulated income of $103 when the interest rate in the market is 6%, and only $102.50 if the interest rate stays at 5%. So we've earned an additional 50 cents by reinvesting the coupons at the higher interest rate of 6%. What about our price effect? If we were to sell the bond in year 2, when the interest rate is 6%, we would be able to sell it for $981.67. If the interest rates had stayed at 5%, we could have sold that bond for $1,000. So if we wait 2 years to sell the bond, the price effect is only a loss of $18.33. And that price effect is partially offset by the additional interest income we earn from the reinvestment effect. So our net loss as a result of the interest rates rising, if we sold the bond in year 2, would be $17.83. What if we wait an additional year? So we wait until year 3 to sell the bond. We would have gained interest of a total of $159.18 when the interest rate is 6, $157.63 when the interest rate is 5, for an additional $1.56 in interest income. What about the price effect? We can sell the bond for $990.57 when the interest rate is 6%, $1,000 when the interest rate is 5. So our loss, if we hold the bond, our price loss, if we hold the bond for 3 years, is only $9.43. Again, that is partially offset by the reinvestment effect of investing the coupons at a higher interest rate, for a net loss of $7.88. All right, so let's say we hold the bond till maturity. Total interest earned from reinvesting the coupons when the interest rate is 6% is $218.73. It's $215.51 if the interest rate had not changed and stayed at 5. So we've gained an additional $3.22 in interest income. Now, notice the price effect. At maturity, bonds always sell at par value, or for their face value. That's independent of what the interest rate is. So we have no price effect. Okay? So the net effect of the interest rates rising from 5% to 6%, if we hold the bond for its entire lifespan, or to maturity, is a gain of $3.22. So in $3.22. So in this case, the reinvestment effect has a greater impact than the price effect if the bond is held to maturity.